Hello, my food friends. Welcome back. Chandra's Zen Odyssey. I was just outside in one of my favorite little spots and was about to record this video with a nice river view, and it started raining. So I packed everything up and came inside. I was like just starting the video, and then the rain started. So I'm here in my bedroom because my house is full. My dear mother-in-law is in town, and my partner is homesick from work, but working from home in my office. And so I'm in a different place, and I want to talk about space. And ironically, my house is full in a beautiful way, and there's spaces taken up. But it's not the kind of space that I want to talk about. I want to talk about internal space. Although sometimes when external stuff is really full, we can feel like we don't have space. And we can create space internally, even when external is full.
Welcome! Here is your hostess and coach, Chandra Zas, helping people make food and mood changes doable without missing out. Go ahead, high five that like button, subscribe and share while you're there.
Where am I going with this? Okay. One of the things that I work with a lot in my clients and also inside of myself is taking the pressure off or managing stress. Because when we're full in a stressed out, pressured, tense way, what happens is we end up getting really short and really snappy, and we end up exploding, we end up impatient, we end up kind of not showing up like our best self. We end up showing up without space inside of us. And so we kind of get reactive. And so one of the most powerful practices that I use and I teach my clients is how to create internal space. So one of the ways is by looking at like, what's our brain saying? Like, I have too much to do. There's not enough space. There's things that our brain can say that creates kind of tension and stress, or nothing's going right, or why me, or we can get into kind of this place that creates all this like tension inside of us. And when we do the internal work, which also includes like allowing and feeling the emotions to go through us. So there's a couple pieces to this. When we do the work, I was actually just listening to somebody else talk about Byron Katie, and I think that might be her phrase, but I love this phrase, the work. When we do the work, we can create space inside of us. And when we have space inside of us, we can be more patient. We can be more compassionate. We can be more empathetic. We can respond in a grounded, more clear, more way that I think all of us want to respond. If we think about like parents are often, have multiple jobs because having a kid or kids can be really a lot. So not only, you have your work day, but then you also come home and there's, all of these things that are wanting attention and emotions, and it's a lot extra stuff to deal with. And so I think one of the most common things that I hear from my parent clients is like, I want to show up more patient. And the way when we're showing up patient, we are in relationship to ourself in a way that we're creating more space. So and a lot of the coaching stuff that I do is around mindset, around what is it that our brain is saying, talking back, thinking intentionally. We can create space by our mindset, our perspective, the stories. We can also create space by allowing emotions to process through us. And then we also can have practices where we're intentionally creating internal space. One of the things that I really love is actually spending high quality time with myself. And sometimes that is literally just staring at nature, just laying on the ground, sitting by the river, and just allowing kind of my brain to process, my emotions to process, just being with myself and kind of letting things empty out. One of my really dear childhood friends who I'm in close connection with, and it's so sweet. We Marco Polo all the time. And years ago, she told me, she's like,
hello, my friend. How are you? I'm in the Dead Sea floating in the water. Go ahead and like and share and follow so we can keep in touch.
She's a mother of two, and she's like, all I want to do at the end of the day is stare at a wall, which that phrase has just really stuck with me, because for me, it's like, oh yeah, that's one of those ways to create space, to process, to let things out. Physical activity is really useful. Spending time in nature. I think it's the Japanese that have created this concept of forest bathing, where they actually prescribe people to go walk through the forest as a way to take care of their health. I think it's mental health. I think it's physical health, breathing fresh air, breathing the air from the trees, putting our feet on the ground, letting the energy from our body, the electricity, the emotions go through our body and ground into the earth. This creates space. And then also really knowing what kind of things fill up our cup. There's some people who are more introverted and they really need more space. They want to be more alone. Some people, it's social activities. I know for me, I'm probably kind of in the middle. For me, social stuff can be really refreshing and really help create space in me. Although it depends on who I'm being social with. It depends on the quality of the connection, the quality of the conversation. Sometimes it can be extremely refreshing and give this quality of space inside of me. And there's many ways to do it, and there's no right or wrong. But what I'd like to offer you is by noticing what creates space inside of you and actually prioritizing those habits, those times in your day, those times in your week. Another thing that I really love that just totally fills my cup and creates space inside of me is my morning tea. I love sitting. You've probably seen my chair that I love to sit in and look out the window. It's actually below this window. Look out the window and just kind of let my mind wander, to breathe, to be present with the tea, my coffee, and to really enjoy it and savor it and not have stimulation, not have things going in my brain, not have, podcasts or emails or music or sometimes music. I really like putting on like mantra music to just kind of like be with the sound, but not something that's like putting, stuff in my brain, but stuff that's just letting me kind of unwind and be and breathe and have that quality of like introspection and connection and experiencing. And, I think one of the defaults is like just really getting busy, just constantly doing things, constantly getting into this mode of, I got to do more. There's all these things I got to do. And one of my favorite tactics, one of my favorite tools is actually managing time, which I like to play with as like actually managing our brain and really sitting down and like looking at like, okay, where are all the things in my brain that I feel like I have to do, that I think that I'm, supposed to do, and which of them do I really want to do, and which of them actually do I want to create space in my day, space in myself, and actually cross off the list. And I even like to take it a step further and say, and how do I want to create, how much space do I want to create, and how much time do I want to spend creating space? Because it's an action. It's something that we can do and purposely choose and prioritize in a way of, okay, if I reverse engineer, I want to be playful and patient with my kids at 7 p.m. So how do I need to conduct my day? How do I need to conduct my time that I'm actually creating space inside of myself? I know one of the defaults that a lot of us fall to when we're feeling really full. I was just talking to one of my really dear friends who was saying she's been going through a lot, and she's like, I just totally decided to numb out and binge watch Netflix because and she did it like as a very conscious choice. Oftentimes we're watching TV as kind of an unconscious choice and something that we're kind of just like trying to tolerate the stress or tolerate decisions or things that are going on that we feel uncomfortable around, but we don't know how to process, we don't know how to spend time with, and so we just kind of check out. But when we watch TV or even just like multitask or overwork or overscroll as a way to escape the lack of space that we feel inside of us, then it doesn't help us create more space. And one of the ways that I really like to flag and notice this is that like afterwards, we don't really feel better. We feel kind of like even more off. I actually did this a couple weeks ago. There was this, I really like romantic dramas, movies and shows, and I don't watch them very often. And I found one that I liked, and I watched one, and it was great, and it was a perfect afternoon. I had decided that I really had low energy and I wasn't in the most productive space, and it was something I hadn't done in a while, so I watched one. And then the next week I was like, oh, that was really fun. And I ended up watching a couple more. And what I noticed was like, I did it from this kind of like indulgent place of like, just kind of want to like get away. And what I noticed afterwards was I just felt like, I felt just like kind of this drop in my vibration. I didn't feel like it was like it didn't add to my day. It was something that like dropped my vibes and that didn't create space. So it's not that like all TV or all shows or all Netflix is bad. It's more about just like noticing, how do I feel afterwards? And if you're not used to doing this, it can be a little bit harder to track. But if you think about, like, I'm sure there's a couple activities in your life, like let's say watching Netflix, let's say, binge watching Netflix versus like maybe going to a yoga class or going to a meditation. Like oftentimes, like I think yoga and meditation are such powerful places to connect with ourselves and to process and to breathe and to be with our breath, to let our monkey mind go and to just be inside of our body, and noticing and observing and being in community is often really nice. And so see if you can pick up a couple things in your life where you're like, okay, yeah, I notice that I feel kind of refreshed, or I feel like I have more space inside of me afterwards. And then another activity where you're like, oh yeah, I feel like that vibe drop. And so just flagging and noticing, and then you have that option of consciously choosing, okay, well, I have this time now, how do I want to feel afterwards? It's actually one of the biggest tools that I give my clients with food, is just asking that question before you eat, like, how do I want to feel after this meal? How do I want to feel tomorrow morning? And we start asking ourselves that question, we start making more conscious choices that create higher vibes, whether it's with food or with how we're spending our time. So creating space, even when my house is full, it's totally possible. And yeah, and I also want to offer, since if you're here at the end of this video, I want to offer a really cool offer. I think it's cool. You tell me if you think it's cool. I developed my coaching program, my food and mood coaching program, with in mind of one day integrating plant medicine. And I have recently decided to actually start that program and start working with people who are interested in using plant medicine as the exponential changer that it is, that doing the work and learning about introspecting and watching our mind and working with our emotions and creating space are all really important things to actually learn and practice. And plant medicine is one of my cornerstone pieces where it just exponentiated the change that I was intellectually working on and brought it into my cellular body and into my knowing and into my neural pathways. It is such a powerful tool for change. So if you're still here and you're interested in getting support with plant medicine in conjunction with making your habit changes and creating space and eating high vibe foods, plant medicine is also really useful for helping our taste buds like shift and be more sensitive to our body. One of my dear friends, who's actually also a client, she was just sharing with me they're in another country and they're doing all of this plant medicine, and her partner, who's really struggled with sugar for a long time, he has been doing some plant medicine journeys in a country where it's totally legal, and his whole taste buds have like radically shifted. He's struggled with sugar for many, many, many years, and he's like, I don't want it. Plant medicine is just, it's not like a magic pill. You can't just do it and it changes you. You have to actually be doing the work also. So one of the things that I found out in my plant medicine journeys, also outside of the country, that not everyone was having the profound effects that I was having. And when I kind of reverse engineered it, it's because I was really doing the work and then had that as like an exponential change pusher. So I'm very, very stoked to be offering this. And if you're interested in being one of my guinea pigs, please reach out to me. I think this is most of my friends and family watching these videos. So this is for you guys. So please let me know, and have a beautiful day, and see you next week.